I'm Tom Delker, K1KY. Been licensed since 1971. Have my extra and pretty much involved in a lot of different aspects in ham radio. What we're here today to talk about is the Mtears network. Stands for Middle Tennessee Emergency Amateur Radio System. And it was established basically back in 1998. Mike Davis, W1ARN, who still worked at and still works at the Nashville Weather Service as a technical IT person. And as a ham, he was KB5YJC at the time, and he was in the Weather Service while the Nashville tornadoes and whatnot were going on. They had ham radios there, and he was frantically looking for weather information about these horrendous tornadoes and activity out there in the world of Tennessee. And he had a dual band radio, but limited information about who to contact. We did have a Skywarn program in effect there, but not just super well organized. But he was successful in getting in touch with the folks in Lawrenceburg while that F5 was hitting, and gathering some information from different local areas by bouncing around to their different local repeaters, which, as you can imagine, for all of the commotion that was going on up there, that would be a bit challenging. So as a result of that, Mike hooked up with David Wolf, WA4VVX at TEMA, and proceeded to establish a UHF repeater with antenna high atop the tower at TEMA. And that was pretty much the birth of Mtears. He linked up with the group in Lawrenceburg and Bill Shipley with the Cookeville Amateur Radio Group. And the initial system was one repeater at TEMA, one at the NWS weather site in the corner of Murray and Lawrence County, and they linked in a remote base from Cookeville, and that was the beginnings of the Mtears network. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to, with permission, use some pieces of an excellent presentation that Laura in 4CLO did for the Rat Pack series. Steve, could you tell us a little bit about what that's all about?
What is it?
Rat Pack.
It is a group of amateurs that are primarily interested in emergency communication that held a twice per week seminar that ends up on YouTube and other media. Wednesday nights are hobby night. Thursday night is MCOM night. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. And I can speak to Thursday night because I'm involved in that. We've had the states of North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas, Tennessee, California, Oregon, Washington, and others present what their expectations are for amateur radio and how they go about in Florida and how they go about implementing those expectations. We've had the National Council of Statewide Interoperability Coordinators presented, which is a CISA, DHS CISA SafeCom organization. We've had the National Emergency Managers Agencies present, and we've had the FCC present similar topics in order to clarify and And the reason why that happened is I heard a volunteer leader in a particular state make a comment that we need to teach these agencies how we do things. And I thought it's time that policymakers express their points of view so that people can head off in the proper direction. So Rat Pack has become very popular, and anybody that would like to hear these Zoom sessions twice per week, you just email me at winlink@comcast.net. I'll be happy to get your name placed on the roster for upcoming events.
Thank you, Steve. So far we have delivered a presentation on Tennessee communications. Mike Harris, the communications director for TEMA, and myself delivered that program a couple of months ago.
I wanted to make one last comment. Tom Delker has presented a generic view of what we do in Tennessee with respect to emergency management. And last week, Laura Ellie Marler gave an excellent presentation, which is now available on YouTube, which featured WCARES, Mtears, and how Tennessee manages weather with the National Weather Service and Skyline. It's excellent. Hopefully it'll be on the website here before too long.
Thank you, Steve. So what we're showing you here are some of the slides that Laura used for the presentation. This particular page here shows the WCARES repeater network, which is, of course, a participant on the local level, of which you've got 5 repeaters linked together, basically in the same fashion that we link the Mtears system, which we'll get on over into that a little bit more here. Okay, so Mtears basically started out as a Middle Tennessee network. When I've discovered what Mike had done, I got in contact with him and said, you know, this is an awesome thing, but we can take it to the next level. And he said, how you do that? And I said, we link more repeaters. And so we had a meeting after the tornado and whatnot. As you can imagine, the excitement level was high among the ham radio community, and we put together a meeting at a church somewhere over in Donaldson or whatnot of probably 50 to 100 hams, repeater owners and such, and the expansion of Mtears and our area-wide weather spotting system was born. And that was probably again in '98. And basically I suggested that we've got a lot of UHF repeaters around here that are just looking for something to do. And I had 5, I think. I had Short Mountain, Gallatin, and several other sites, Pasco. And very quickly got them linked in, and off we went. So here is a fairly up-to-date map. We've got a few little changes, but this particular map shows 34 linked UHF repeaters. Back in 2010, during the Nashville floods, we were operating out of the state EOC at the radio shop to solve the issue of communicating with Hickman County, which was quickly going underwater. And David Wolf and John Johnson at the time said, we need somebody over there. And so we polled the resources, and David said, I've got the guy. And he called up Mike Harris, who was a freshly certified ComL. How many of you know what a ComL is? Oh, good. I don't have to explain that. So Mike, with all of his little resources and his wife, packed up his bags and went into Centerville, probably hours before the whole town became totally landlocked by water. Our only communication in and out of there was ham radio. We already had some amateur radio assets, repeaters in Hickman County. We also had the Mtears repeater system, and they could communicate back to us.
That was pre-TAC.
That was pre-TACing, but there was no state things that I know of, So anyway, we were it. And Mike went in there armed with all of his knowledge and his notebooks and whatnot, arrived on scene and basically proceeded to save the day because they didn't have much of a emergency plan, so to speak. He put all those ComL and other emergency management training tools to use and helped them get things on the road. And in through doing so, using WinLink, Mtears, and whatnot, we established a good solid backbone of communications to the local government there in order to get the resources moving. We coordinated delivery of water, filling up water tanks for a hospital, generators, you name it, that was needed to save life and property. As a result of that, David Wolf and others put in an order with Motorola for an emergency order for 10 Motorola MTR 2000 repeaters, repeater controllers, duplexers, the whole ball of wax, to be delivered like overnight under the guise of this disaster. And as a result, while we were coordinating the relief effort, these 10 repeaters showed up at the commo shop, and we proceeded to set up what later was termed Santa's Workshop. And Brent DeSalvo and several others came in to help, and we built 7 of the repeaters for Mtears. And before the disaster was over, we had them all ready to go to be deployed, and I think some actually were put into service during the whole entire relief effort. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so as you see, we have Middle Tennessee is heavily populated with Mtears repeaters. And the one in the middle, labeled the H, is the hub right there, which of course, for some, I remember that doesn't work here. Yeah. Anyway, the hub is located at what we call our Trinity site. That started out at the State EOC number 19. Some of you wonder what the significance of the numbers are, and that's a trade secret that only Dave Wolf can. Well, actually, the colors are what David Wolf keeps under wraps, but the numbers represent the county IDs that TEMA uses for each of our counties. So those numbers mean something to them, they mean something to us as we work together. Those are the designations for the counties in the state for their radio systems. So as you see, if you refer to repeater number 19, that's the one in Davidson County. And if we have another repeater in the same county, then we start using the same number and we add an extra letter to it. So we got 19 for Nashville, and we got 19 Bravo for Pasco, which is right on the corner of Davidson County. And of course, for Williamson County, you've got the 9-4 and 9-4 Bravo, because you added a second repeater. So where do all these come from? I already told you that about 7 or 10 of them TEMA has supplied. We've got 2 of them that Williamson County has supplied, and we have other partners, both individual and government organizations, that have contributed to the pot. In West Tennessee, number 57 is in Jackson, and that is, again, another one of those repeaters that we built up. This one is in Lobelville. And then up here, number 27, that one's a private group, the Dyer and the Dyer County group, Gibson County group, put that one together. As you notice, we got a big hole down here in Memphis, which is not unusual for a lot of amateur radio operations. They kind of tend to stick to themselves, but we are still talking to groups down there about putting something up and linking in. East Tennessee, however, is a whole different story. We have Kevin, W4KEV, who's a broadcast engineer, and he's responsible for most of everything you see over there in East Tennessee. We help him with equipment, but he has pretty much gone out on his own and put together that whole bit. Number 18, the group in Cumberland County, that was an existing repeater, I believe, and we repurposed it for Mtears. Bradley, they're their own group, WM4RB, that's his repeater. Hamilton County, Tom, K4VCM, Tom Morgan, that's Signal Mountain. But all of this over here is all Kevin. So if you ever run across him, thank him for his participation. The systems are linked together. It's a very simple linking system at this point in time. It's all RF. There's no internet involved. Basically, it's a repeater and a link radio. And the link radio talks to the next repeater down the line. So if you listen to the Mtears net on Monday nights, or any of our operations, Net Control will advise everybody that please key down for a second or two before you speak in order for the repeaters to link. And the reason for that is that when you key up over here in Knoxville, it's got to engage the repeater, Knoxville. It's got to engage the repeater in Cumberland County, and all of these repeaters require PL access, which takes about 100 to 300 milliseconds for the decoders to link up. So 100 to 300 milliseconds from Knoxville, well, first of all, for Knoxville to key up, but then to get to Cumberland County, 300 milliseconds. Then to Short Mountain, another 300 milliseconds. Then to Nashville. So there's a 1 second minimum for the thing to key up and engage when you key down. Another thing to keep in mind when you're keying down on Mtears, say I've got this little portable and I key up. From an inside a nicely RF shielded building, but I can go to Century Court, which is somewhere handily programmed into my radio.
Right up the hill.
I got to go all the way to the end of the list since you're 9-4. Oh. There you go. Century Court, just right up the way there. So as you can see what the deal is, and then you got the delays going back to the west. So that's why we ask you to key down for a little bit before you speak. And the same thing, you know, going back for these guys to hear us up there in Hancock County, that could take about 2 to 3 seconds. So we got to be aware of our folks on the fringes that we want to give it a little bit of delay when we speak so that everybody can hear us. Now, there are plans to utilize our mesh network as a secondary backbone in order to link these things, again by RF, but by microwave. And that will get rid of a lot of those delays. It'll also give us more control over our system because I'll have a control panel telling me the status of each and every repeater in the system. So as you can see, it was not an overnight evolution, and it continues to move on and on. Right now we got about 34 repeaters, and if you break them down by the NWS warning areas, you got Memphis is responsible for everything over here to Hardin, Decatur, Benton County. Nashville used to have 42 counties. We now have 39 under their jurisdiction because these 3 renegade counties, Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin, felt like they were more part of Huntsville, getting better service out of Huntsville because their radar serves them as a bit closer. So we lost those 3 counties out of the Nashville coverage area, and they went to Huntsville. And then Morristown has, she's got the number, 33 counties and 13 linked repeaters. So as you can see, this is just one of the breakdowns that Laura did in her presentation, and it is just totally awesome. And thanks to her, I was able to glean a little bit of her presentation to use that for this one. Do we have any questions so far as to what we're doing?
Tom, I do have.
Yes, sir.
Any of the repeaters, do they have internet capability?
They have internet capability at the sites. They don't have anything connected directly to them. All of this is analog. Okay? Now, at a good number of sites, as I alluded earlier, that we have a DMR system also, which we are now utilizing as a backup and a alternate for our weather operations. We had a situation, I think, where we lost Cumberland County during one of the weather events, and we now have a backup protocol for DMR in the case of a repeater outage to get the reports from those areas back in here. But whether or not the repeaters are working or not, we now have a parallel announcement operation going on DMR when we activate for severe weather. And so Troy and KO4DCO and N4OPX over in East Tennessee handle that, and we're always looking for volunteers to help not only with net control on Mtears, but also for reading the reports and maybe taking reports on DMR. So as you can see, that's a pretty good size operation when we crank up for severe weather. Just get a hold of Laura. She'll be happy to plug you in. We'll be happy to train you. I'm available too, so we've got quite a bit of resources. Talking about Mtears, of course, nothing works without the relationships with both the ham community, the emergency management community and whatnot, and we have just awesome partners Again, Williamson County, great support in supplying our hub site and the other 2 sites here in Williamson County, and we've got some other initiatives in the works that you're going to be really excited about. That's been years in the making that hopefully will come to fruition. As I said, we have all those repeaters, but of course they are no good to us without a plan, without the people, and that we have. We have plans, we have people. Steve, K2 SMA, helps organize the nets. Elizabeth, K4 KTG, is our training manager, and she is still active. She's adapting, but she's still active and doing things. We have a survey which some of you, no, you haven't, because I haven't distributed it yet. We got a survey coming out as a result of a ComU group meeting that we had less than a month ago. She has been tasked with gathering resource information from our people, and we're gonna start it with our communications support group. And what it is it's like a 50 question or more survey that is going to gather information based on your resources, your talents, and pretty much anything else. You'll look at it and you'll think that you went to an annual physical or something, but it's pretty in depth. But it's in depth for a reason, because we have a lot of just super great resources available in our community. And so this is going to be an effort to collect that information so that when somebody says, I need a water tanker truck or a tow truck or a doctor or something like that, we got the list and we know who to go to that either has one or knows somebody who's got one. So it's going to be a really, really interesting list by the time we get done with it. So you'll be seeing that survey at some point in time when we get back around to distributing it. Like I said, we're going to hone the details of it first with a small test group, and then we'll go from there. And if any of you want to help participate with that development, see me, and I'll get you added to that list so you can help us develop it. All right, let's see what other kind of slides we have here that would be pertinent. Little bit about the activation. Basically, Mtears activates in a number of ways. The net controllers, obviously, weather around here is usually not a surprise. We usually get 3 to 4 days in advance notice of something that is going to be major. And we participate in the briefings with all the weather services. As you may be aware, what Elizabeth had put together, and we're still doing, is distributing the briefings from all of the weather services that affect our areas or our state. So we're active way days before, planning what might be coming up. And when it gets close, when we start seeing watches or warnings at the edge of the state, that's when we start getting cranked up towards activation. Last night, it was late in the night. Not a lot of people were around, but Laura was there, and away we went. So we started in what we called a partial activation because there weren't any watches out. There were warnings popping, but the watches hadn't come. They were talking about it. But as we saw that 4 and 5 different warnings started coming up, I thought, well, it's time to put the weather annunciator up. And what that is, when you hear Mtears go active for weather, We're not changing any status or anything of the repeater system. It's working all the time. Excuse me. All the repeaters are linked all the time. As a matter of fact, that's a criteria to be published on the map, is that your repeater must be linked full time. If you're not on the map. Now, we might have some that are down for one reason or another that might still be on the map, but to be on the map, you got to be there, have committed to connect full time. No questions, no arguments. So we have this criteria for activating. So when you hear the W, for those of you, this is a great way to learn CW. When you hear the little single beep, that's typically a CWE, but it's just a courtesy beep. But when we go into severe weather mode, we activate it, and we have little codes we tell the repeater controller, and all that does is changes that courtesy beep to a W. So that's your first lesson for learning CW. Da-da-da. Okay? That's a W. Everybody ought to know what a W is in CW because that's what it is. You don't have to be asking, is the net up? Just listen. What do you hear? You hear a W? Yeah, the net's up. The other one is on Monday nights, or if we have a support net, the courtesy beep there is an N. Who can tell me what an N is in CW? Dot it. Very good. So that's 2 characters you've got. So now you can spell or W-E-N actually, win, or new. So that's 3 letters that you now know in CW towards your upgrade of your license. So those are a natural. So when the net goes active, watch is issued, warnings, whatnot. We will consult with the Weather Service. We will consult with TEMA to find out what their operations are going to be, and the decision is made to bring up the weather mode. Once that is done, it does not get taken down until all the threats have been extinguished or passed. So probably our longest activation, I think, has exceeded 48 to 72 hours for some events. Once it goes up, it doesn't come down until we are done. Very rarely do we, if we shut it down, have we had to crank it back up. So we make sure that we are totally done with the event. As you know, the net controls use tactical call sign K4OHX. Wonder what that stands for. Anybody got a clue?
AWS Nashville.
Yeah. Bill Shipley and the Cookville group got that call back in '98. We just had the Vanity system. They got that call sign. They still are the holders of it. And will continue to be. And our EC Dale, KC2CBD, I think that if he's not already, they're in process of transferring that over to him or as the trustee. So K4OHX, again, that's the Cookville connection. If you ever look it up, you wonder, well, why is that thing, licensed out of Cookville? But that was due to the relationship between them and NWS back in '98 when we formed this thing. WX4MRX, wonder what that one is. Anybody?
Memphis.
Nope.
Oh, Morristown.
Morristown, there you go. MRX, if you recall our map, well, you recall the other map, MRX, that is the designation for Morristown. HUN, Huntsville. OHX, that's Old Hickory. That's where that came from. MEG is Memphis. And of course there's designations for all the other weather services. Everybody knows what they are. How am I doing on time?
That's good.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, not only do we do the Mtears system, but the DMR network has 3 talk groups designated for Tennessee. One of them's for Memphis, one's for Middle Tennessee OHX, and the other one's for MRX. So, and then another one is for TEMA. We have a talk group 31478, which is what we read the announcements on. The reason for that is that TEMA and other local public service access points, PSAPs, they monitor it as well. You may also wonder why we read all these things. Well, one is NOAA weather transmitters don't cover everywhere. Our coverage is pretty much the whole state. Okay? If you lose a weather transmitter, we're still operating, usually. We are located at, our repeaters are actually Lobelville and the Columbia, the Southport, are located at NWS NOAA weather transmitter sites. So that's kind of helpful in that if something happens to the NOAA weather radio at those sites, we have some monitoring capability to tell us what the status of things are at that site. So we can help the Weather Service say, well, our repeater's still up, so we know we got power. Or you know, we can tell them several different things about what's going on there. Excuse me. All right. Like I said, Mtears secures when all the watches expire and there's no longer a threat anywhere for Tennessee. So, of course, what makes all this work is the Mtears was established to provide a liaison to the local groups. So we do not function or intend to tell anybody in the local groups what to do. We are there as a liaison from the local Skywarn groups, whoever they are, however they're operated. We provide the conduit for them to send us information. And also, more importantly, which you may or may not know, is the Weather Service from time to time, the forecasters will want some specific information about what's going on in a county, and they may ask us to ask those counties what's going on. So you may hear us asking from time to time a specific request out of Murray County. What do you know, we're seeing 3-inch baseball size hail on our radar. Can you get somebody to confirm that? Usually we can. So as you can see, that's a very, very good tool to help save life and property, which, you know, is the name of the game here. That's what we're all about. That's what the NWS is all about. And then in Laura's presentation, she tells you how to be a net control. And she's got resources here telling about what she's got going on her computer. NWS Chat is the Weather Service's method to interact with local media, the ham radio operators, the emergency management community. Everybody's in this one pot. We get to see what's going on, and maybe I'll show you some of the activity from last night of what was going on there. So when we activate the net, we're talking to the Weather Service directly. Used to, we sent somebody out there. We don't do that anymore. And of course, with COVID, we couldn't. So NWS Chat is our lifeline. What happens if the internet goes down? We have WinLink. We have interfaces from WinLink into NWS Chat and back out. We can actually inquire the NWS Chat system about a specific message sequence request through WinLink to get those reports. One of the other things that Laura used, now the NWS Chat is by invitation only. You got to be a net controller and have some other requirements to be able to join. Who has an NWS chat account and participates? Looky there. What do we got? 1, 2. Raise them up. Somebody count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A bunch, maybe 10. So we're pretty well distributed. We're pretty well plugged in there. Morristown, East Tennessee, the hams are not so fortunate. They, for some reason, that office is guarding that platform with an iron fist. There's only a handful of hams in the entire Morristown coverage area that are allowed to participate on NWS chat. We're beating on that door and we're working on it, but it is a hard road to toe. And that's entirely a call of the meteorologists in charge of that office. And they were late coming to the game with NWS chat to begin with. So I would say they're 8 years behind or 10 years behind anyway. So it may be a limited staffing thing. They don't put as much emphasis on it. I don't know. But everybody else, Memphis, matter of fact, Memphis for their severe weather, and we used to, some of them did it here, they have licensed hams in their NWS forecast office, and they run the net on DMR. 31471 is the Memphis Mtears, so to speak. It's the West Tennessee weather net. When things are happening there, they come up on 31471 for West Tennessee, and we have the ability to talk to them on that one. 31472 is Middle Tennessee. 31473 is East Tennessee, but it's hardly ever used. So if we have a repeater outage issue with Mtears and we need to bridge from somewhere to somewhere, we're going to be on 31472 to coordinate that. And we have a whole procedure that's newly developed to handle those outages, and we'll announce that. So we then announce it on NWS chat, we announce it on the air on Mtears, where to go to be able to relay your information. So all of this learned through the School of Hard Knocks, of course, but we have lots of backup capabilities. So on to Laura's list. She uses Twitter, and luckily none of that's being filtered for weather. And maybe that'll get even better, but she uses Twitter, and the NWS uses Twitter. Okay, that's how they get pictures. We're not the only players out there, of course. We are partnered up with the Nashville Severe Weather Group. As a matter of fact, they're the ones that supplied the cameras for our Gallatin site. They're supplying gigabyte internet service to our Gallatin site. And I don't know if they're online yet, but those cameras at some point will be available on their website. They have a bunch of cameras, but they had reliability issues with them. They had them at schools and inaccessible places. And I said, hey, let's put them at some repeater sites. So Gallatin was our first pilot. We put together some hardened packages, put them up on the towers, and that's been 1 to 2 years or go without any failures. So we've proven it, it's working, and we're ready to go. I know they were in touch with Williamson County about supplying a camera or two, and I'm not sure where that's at, but hopefully that will move forward. But they're there, they'll supply the cameras, they'll supply the internet. So we just got to supply the sites, and if it's something that works with what they're wanting to do and it's a benefit to all, it's a win-win-win. So we're all plugged in there. QRZ.com. If you're a net controller, you will have a renegade from time to time. We had one last night. I put a note out on our Slack group, which I'll talk about in a minute. We have identified a operator, K4CTL, came on the air maybe a couple days ago. From time to time, we get people who get GMRS licenses and think they're ham radios. and they'll actually come on the air with their GMRS call sign. But this one, we also have some that like to somehow, they've figured out how to program a radio, get on our systems, and come up with a call sign. Well, K4CTL is a fellow out of Virginia, and the name of the licensee doesn't match Matthew in Culleoka. So K4CTL, Matthew in Culleoka is not Charles in Virginia. So we got to look for all of that stuff. That you got to do it on your local nets as well, because you'll get them. And these guys, they're there because they're wanting to help. Some are public service, public safety type people that just don't know any better. They're probably volunteer firemen. So we try to treat them with kid gloves, get them plugged in, get them pointed in the right direction, and 9 times out of 10, they end up with a ham license. So that's our approach to that. We don't try to put them in jail or anything like that. They have an interest. They want to help. We want to put them on the right path. I got guys that are in touch with me on Facebook and whatnot that came in that way, and now they don't push to talk, but they're still listening and they're working on their licenses. Maybe 5 of them already have got their license over the past year. So take advantage of that. Help these guys along. Groups like this, get them plugged in, and away you go. All right. Any questions so far on the content? Okay. We talked about the Twitter thing, and our reports, the warnings and whatnot, are available with this link on Twitter. And like I say, we'll defer to Laura's presentation for that, and we look forward to having her do that at some point. And let's see here. Chat is down now to get the report. Telephone. Of course, we still use telephone. We've got the direct numbers to the Weather Service forecasters. Also, if NWS chat goes down, Weather Service will establish an alternate Google Talk line. And we haven't had issues with that much lately. They've bolstered their servers, but we're pretty good. Got email direct, got text messaging, as I said, and they still have a radio. They've got a VHF, UHF radio, and a TACAN radio. We can talk to them on that, so all is not lost. They do not have a DMR radio, but again, they wouldn't know what to do with it at that point. So, at any rate, educating our net control operators, we'll leave that up to Laura and whatnot. Educating listeners and participants of our net. Encourage basic weather education. Explain why things are done in a particular way. Encourage people to monitor. And remember, like I said, we got schools and places that may or may not have weather coverage that are listening. So there's a lot of people listening to our system, and that's why we are so diligent in getting the warnings out. At one point, somebody at a Hamfest told me, "Well, you guys are just alarmists." And I said, "No, we're providing a service here to save life and property. You can choose to listen or not, but these are warnings that the Weather Service put out for public consumption for a reason." And now on DMR, we read these things in what we call an executive format. Basically, again, PSAPs and whatnot, they just need or want to know when something's happening, what it is. They can go get the detail. It may be that they're task overloaded or whatnot. We just provide another alternative to give them a heads up something's happening. Same thing, you're out riding around in your car. We got a lot of people, a lot of truckers that listen to our system. And we get comments all the time about how much they appreciate that service. And of course, they're distributed. They're out there in places that you people at home aren't, and can give us report road conditions and stuff like that. So really works out. It's win-win all the way around. Vetting reports. And this is important. I'm gonna dwell on it a little bit. If you do have something to report, please know what the criteria are. What, where, and when. City, county, location, and that location can be a mile marker on an interstate, 3 miles northwest of Franklin, Tennessee. We need something that's geographically specific.
Coordinates.
Yeah, no coordinates. Now we do use, we can use what's,
Three small words, 3 words.
yeah, what 3 words? How many of you know what 3 words is? Very good. Need to have a program on that if you haven't. That's a cool coordinate system with use of 3 specific words can give you a location down to a 3-meter square.
As long as you have the internet.
No, you can have app on your phone. It has the database offline. So you can refer to, you can put that in on your phone, on your app. No internet. I mean, you got to have it to get the app loaded. But once you got the app loaded, it works standalone. Same thing on your computer. And then here I am. This is my what 3 words deal. And we've used that successfully in bike ride support. You get in an area where you're on the borderline of a county or something like that, or trying to explain to somebody what 1, 2, 3, 4 Bug Tussle Road is. Well, what county is it? Well, sometimes they don't, these guys don't know. Now, we're using APRS and whatnot, but still, what 3 words nails it. And we had a life-saving situation in a ride 2 years ago on the MS ride, I believe, that borderline county, and that nailed it.
Those are coordinates.
Huh?
Those are coordinates. What 3 words are coordinates?
Yes. Yeah. All right. So anyway, know your criteria, know where you're at. On GR level 3, which let me bring it up, which is the weather mapping, the weather app of choice. Mike Davis has created a service, which we have a server that's running. Oh, look at that. KM4PT-9. All right. He's reporting APRS location from his radio, or you can do it from your phone. I could turn on my app here. And we have a server that is looking for anybody who has the tag TNWX or bang, exclamation TNWX in your APRS stream comment line. And our server picks that up. It calculates and publishes the what 3 words address, in that case, Altitudes Photographer Processing. And not only that, but he's calculating your location relative to a specific known point. 1.9 miles south-southwest of Franklin, Tennessee, 12 minutes ago at 1902 local. Well, let's see where that might be. Let's see if I can find my my Zoom button. I got so much junk in front of here. Here it is. I think I zoomed too much. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Bear with me one moment. This will be fun. There he is. Must be your car, huh, Paul?
It is.
How about that? There's his parking spot. Here. That's a cool extra bonus there in the presentation that I had not planned on. But see, we got all these cool tools out there at our in place, and that's one of them. And that's very helpful. I've had a situation where a guy had that going in East Tennessee, and he had a tornado bearing down on his location. He had no clue, and I called him up. I knew him. I called him up on the phone. I said, "Dude, you got a tornado 5 miles south of you. Are you aware of that?" Well, turn your radio on and take cover and tell us what's left when it's done. While you're still alive. And he did suffer damage. So, little thing like that automatically happening, you might forget about it. Your DMR radios can do it also. You just put that bang TNWX in there, and we got you on our GR level 3 weather map. And as the storms and whatnot come along, again, I can say, "Hey, Paul, 5 miles out, are you aware?" So, any questions on that one? Yes, sir.
Tell us what the app is.
Well, the app is just APRS. I mean, it's in your radio. It can be APRS Droid. There's an app on iOS. I don't remember what it is. But what? Yeah, APRS FI. .fi. And but otherwise, your radios that are APRS enabled, you just program it in. The TM70, the 400, Yaesu, and a lot of radios, the 741s and whatnot, have APRS built in. You just plug in the call sign and the tag. Its GPS knows where you are, and it's reporting away.
And the what 3 words is what, and the number 3 words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have that. So what 3 words? Altitudes, photographer, pressing. Give that to the Russians and they can wipe out his car in a heartbeat.
Not so sure about that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, now let's see if I can get back to my presentation. Looky there. All righty. Again, thank your net controllers and please consider helping. Last night was a little bit thin, but we did it. We always do it somehow. So help. And don't be afraid. We're there. We got a lot of people available to train you, to help you. You're not alone. We use our back channel communications, our NWS chat. We have our own room supplied by the Weather Service. It's called OHX Ham Chat. We're one of the few in the country that have our own NWS chat room. But better yet, we have an app called Slack. And this is our community-wide melting pot for information sharing. We coordinate our net controllers. We have information on DMR, mesh, you name it. It's an awesome platform for communicating and sharing info. You can see here's the 415 weather thread. When we have something come up, we start a thread on the topic, the weather. And so here's Laura at 9:20 p.m. Severe weather threat, isolated cells in Middle Tennessee producing strong thunderstorms moving through, as well as a tornado watch for West Tennessee. Trey pipes in, he will take the NE4MA DMR operation. And then we coordinate when we back each other up and whatnot. When Trey needed to go at 11, he held out till 11:30. Thank you, Trey. Or later. And then here's the information about that bootlegger. We've opened a thread on our bootlegger. We are collecting information and sharing it between our net controllers. So you can run, but you can't hide. We got you. That's all there is to it. Lots of tools in the toolbox. So that's pretty much it. All right, one last thing. We're going to talk a little bit about mesh. Let me find my thing on it. Do we have any more questions about weather and Mtears?
Is the protocol still the fact that, Monday night Mtears net is a training net?
Correct.
When an event occurs, the average ham on the street is not to call into the Mtears.
Only if he's the first one on the scene or in the county. So base.
Speaking, you go to like W Cares.
Right. Yeah. We obviously we want the folks to activate their local net, do their local thing. But first one on the scene, just like a fire or whatnot, he's the instant commander until he's replaced. So if he's the only guy in town, in the county or whatnot that we need the information out of, we want to hear from him until somebody can back him up. They get their local net established, and away we go.
He would know if his local net's there.
Do what?
He would know whether his local net.
He should know,
and
but
if he
there's
shouldn't wait for it.
right. But sometimes Mtears activates usually well in advance of when a local net does, because we're a much broader in scope. It's coming. We watch way west as these things come through, or from the south dribbling up, and sometimes from the north coming down. So we're already watching that stuff, and you're already hearing the activity. So the locals, especially here in Middle Tennessee, ought to have plenty of advance warning of something going to happen. That answer your question?
No, it's not a question, it's just a statement.
Or question, other people's questions. Yes. Okay, very good. So anyway, Slack, if you're not on it, get with some that are and see if that's something for you. Trey can help you out, Laura can, I can. But we have coordinating our ComU team, DMR, General, Mtears Net Controllers, South Mesh, our mesh operations. Our local Stones River Amateur Radio Club has a room there. They've got their own Slack as well with all of their topics running. So it's an awesome format and great interoperability. We have probably 250 or more participants in the W4CAT Slack system. And we're well distributed. Lots and lots of people. APRS, COVID-19, GR Level 3, Tower Climbers, Mtears Tower. So we got a project coming up. I'll post that in the Tower group. And I had 8 people come help me last Sunday at our site in Murfreesboro. 2 climbers and 6 ground grunts.
6 supervisors.
Yeah, 6 supervisors, and they were great. They were awesome. I was able to deal with the technical stuff inside while they handled the ropes, the antennas, the whole deal. It was, and that was just thrown together 2 days in advance. I mean, we knew it was coming up, but we posted it on the local club website, and boom, there they were. So cool way to get some work done. All right, let's move on to mesh real quick. Microsip. Let's try making a phone call.
Hello, Beach Kitchen.
Hello, Beach Kitchen. I'm doing a demo, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear me. Yeah. Okay. Hello, radio.
I can just about hear you. When I do, you are driving out.
Okay. Let me get back to you on this. I'm doing a demo. Bye. Okay. End call. Maybe. All right. Okay, didn't quite think that one all the way through, but due to all of the AV I've got going here, I set up a feedback loop. But and I've still got it going. Well, I'm not, I know how to get rid of it. It's my volume. Okay. Over our mesh network, with this little device here, I'm connected into a global system. And in this case, I am using the Wi-Fi to tunnel into our system. But if we had the system set up here like is planned, this unit would talk RF to a unit over there and go up to Century Court and be talking again to our whole statewide system. And what I did there is I used a program called MicroSIP, which is a VoIP telephone device, just like what these are. And I was talking to a guy on the beach in North Carolina. Okay? We have a worldwide PBX system set up to talk to people all over the world. They're all linked together. And of course, we got our system in Tennessee. I can talk to phones in the TEMA pit. I can talk to Vanderbilt. They're already there. They're pre-positioned. I have phone numbers published. Boom. Dial 4-digit number, and we're talking to them. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. How are we doing on time?
You got more to tell us? Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Let me pull up a map and show you what it's all about here. So on our mesh network, think of it as a standalone local area network that is accessible by radio. It's basically an enhanced Wi-Fi type system, and we've got a vast RF network set up, but you don't necessarily have to be connected by radio. We can also connect by the internet. And we're still waiting on the map to load, hopefully. Here it comes. All right. This is a depiction of what we've got going on in Nashville, Short Mountain. Well, that's Murfreesboro. But all these lines are the connections of these network stations. The green lines are RF. As you can see over here at Short Mountain, those guys are really having fun because we got a 2,200 foot mountain that can see everywhere over there. So within 20, 30 miles, 20 miles, they can talk on 5 gigahertz back to that mountain and participate in the network. So if I drill in, give you an idea of what we got going here. These are offset in order for being able to show them on the map. But these are stations that are on our towers pointing in different directions. And you see the lines. This one here, which is pointed northeast, is talking to Monterey, 42 miles away on 5 gigahertz. High speed data. Telephones, mapping, the whole deal. Anything you can do on a computer network, you can do on this mesh network. VoIP, cameras, WinLink. Let's show you something here. What's your limitation for WinLink speed-wise, even on your best day with Pactor 4?
9,600 baud or 5,500 bits per second.
5,500 bits per second.
$5,500.
5,500? Okay.
$9,600.
With our mesh network, we're at network speeds. Okay? And not only that, but within ourselves, we can use we can have up to a 5 megabyte file size. So we can send a picture.
We can act as a server.
You can act as a server. So what we got here is I'm going to send a message. Who's got access to their email on their phone or something here? Okay. Let me I'm going to create a new message in WinLink. Okay, Paul, what's your address? KM4PT at ARRL.net. Anybody else? Oh, come on now. All right. So we're going to do a WinLink test message via mesh. And hello, Paul. Via mesh WinLink. All right, so I'm going to post it to my outbox. And I'm going to open up my post office. And I'm going to talk to my server in Gallatin at the repeater site. So I'm going to hit start, connected, boom, done, sending, disconnected. All at Ethernet speeds. Phil long ago built me a little calculator down here telling you what your speeds were. Total bytes 781, bytes per minute 85, 82. And he's got the message. That was all by RF, folks. Okay? This thing's, even though it's the internet, it could easily be talking to a mesh station somewhere here. But it's talking to the Wi-Fi here, tunneled to W8NWA in Nashville to his mesh node. He's then RF to Love Circle to Belmont, Belmont to Gallatin. All by RF. Okay? And I'm on battery power here too. So how about that? And I could just as easily be using my phone as the relay as opposed to the internet that's here. So totally wireless. Emergency communications, redundant, bish boom ba. That could have been a big picture.
Okay, Tom, thank you so much for being here. I know you were up late last night, so thank you for taking the time to come out and talk to me.